player, and all of a sudden you go to junior college. It's a pretty average junior college at that, and you can't make the roster. My grades went down, my weight went up. I came home for Christmas, I was probably 225 pounds, but my GPA was 2.1 and my weight was 225. Which was absolutely not the good way to do. So we worked hard, stuck around, and part of it was there were so many people that came and left, and you'll see that when you go to college. Some of you will go to college, some of you won't. Some of you will stay with the rest of your life, some of you won't. Some of you get married, some of you won't. Some of you will have children, some of you won't. The only thing I can guarantee that you're going to have is some failure in your life. The only reason I didn't come home is, to be quite honest, there was nothing for me to come home to. You know, I tell the story, and this is one I may have made up, I can't really remember, but I've told it enough where I believe it. When I was sitting in the chair you're sitting in right now, in 1986, and I graduated high school, my mom came up to me, and for those of you who know her, you would believe this. She put her arm around me, she goes, "Mike, I love you to death, you're never living at home again." And that's what, I didn't have a choice, man. I moved in the dorm, you get 3 meals, you get air conditioning, you got cable TV. How much better could it be than that, right? Why in the world would I want to come home? So I found a way. I had the opportunity after I left Dodge City, I went to Kansas State University. It was just right place at the right time. It was part of Bill Snyder's first recruiting class. Bob Stoops was my position coach, and I learned so much from those two gentlemen. I learned so much from them about commitment and about what it really means to be committed. If you walk in the weight room today at the University of Oklahoma, one of the first signs you see is a sign that says, "Don't confuse daily routine with commitment." And that is so true. We go through our lives on a daily basis and just going through the motions. That's not really commitment, folks. Mike Leach, the coach of Washington State, was on that staff at OU, and Mike told a story one time, and many of you maybe have heard this, but a person asked me in an interview, he said, "Well, tell me about commitment, Coach. What's that mean for you at Texas Tech University?" And he said, "Well, you know the story about the chicken and the pig?" The guy's like, "No, don't know anything about it." He goes, "Okay, you have breakfast in the morning, guys?" "Yeah, I got breakfast. You know, I eat breakfast." He goes, "Do you have bacon and eggs?" "Yeah, some days I have bacon and eggs." He goes, "Well, the chicken is involved, but the pig is committed." So it's important on a daily basis, whether it's your marriage, it's your job, it's your family. Get up in the morning and go, "Am I the chicken today or am I the pig?" When I sat in that seat right there, I couldn't tell you who the speaker was. I couldn't tell you what they said. I can't tell you what the message was. And 35 years from right now, I'm asking around. How long have I been out of high school?
28 years.
28 years from right now, you're probably not going to remember who I am, what I said, or anything else. But remember, get up in the morning, every morning, look in the mirror and go, "Am I the chicken or am I the pig today?" And that'll help you with your commitment. Perseverance. Perseverance is an incredibly important thing in everything you do in your life. And you got to persevere consistently. When I was in 6th grade here, all I wanted to do, actually in 5th grade, all I wanted to do was be the football manager for the 7th grade team. That's it. I had no more goals or aspirations higher than that. I wanted to be the football manager. So I go and I talk to the coach, the assistant coach, and he's like, "Yeah, come and see me next year, you can be the manager, no problem." So I go to see him at the beginning of the 6th grade year, I was in 6th grade, and he goes, "Yeah, we already got you guys, sorry." I was so heartbroken. I got on my bike and I rode, at that time, the middle school practice down at the baseball diamonds, down around the lake. I rode my bike every day after school down there. And I waited for the football team to show up. And they'd get off and I would do anything I could to help them. And after about 4.5 weeks, the coach came to me and he goes, "You know, you really want to do this, don't you?" I said, "Absolutely I want to do this." He goes, "You can ride the bus tomorrow." It's the small things that you'll remember. That will help you guide you through the rest of your life. We talked a little bit about enjoying the journey. And I'm going to tell a quick story. My wife is an assistant principal at Newton High School, and she was in charge of commencement last year there. And when I talked to Mrs. Unger, she told me, I asked her, I said, well, how long do you think this will be? And she goes, well, you can have between 20 and 30 minutes. So I said that to my wife. My wife's like, yeah, if you go more than about 12, you probably have lost their attention. So I don't know where I'm at right now. I didn't check the clock. So if I get to about 12 or 13, my daughter, hold on, what do I got? 5, 10, 12, 15? I don't know what she's saying. About 14 months ago, I lost a family member, a man that was very important in my life. He was my mother's older brother, Kenneth. And it was really an interesting funeral, and he did his own eulogy, more or less. But he told this story. And the story is really about the journey, and the story is also about the importance of understanding it's never as bad as you think, and it's never as good as you think. So, 200 years ago, there's a king, and he has a slave. And they go hunting on a safari in Africa. And the slave had packed the gun with too much powder. And the king takes a shot, and he blows his thumb off. And the slave comes up to him, and the king is irate. And the servant goes, this is good. This is good. And the king, as soon as they got back, threw the servant in jail. And the king was like, the servant was, this is good. This is good. A couple of years later, the king went back to Africa on another safari, and he and his entire group were captured by cannibals. So there were 4 or 5, and slowly, day by day, they killed and ate another one. And they got to the king, and they saw he was missing a thumb. And they got down on their knees and they worshiped him. Because the thumbless man is a man you cannot eat according to their culture. So they let him go. And he went back to his kingdom. And he went immediately to prison. And he got the servant out. And he apologized profusely. And he goes, I am so sorry for throwing you in jail for the last 2 or 3 years. And the servant said, no, this is good. This is good. And the king said, how can this be good? And the servant said, if you would have taken me with you, they would have eaten me also. What I want you to remember is it's what you make of it. It's the choices you make. The choices my mom made when she was 18 affected her family for the next 30 years, and she would be the first one to tell you that. The choices my wife and I made when we were 18, 19, 20, when we first met and decided to get married at 24 and have children, are affecting our children right now. It is the choices that you make on a daily basis. Good, bad, or indifferent. Everything you do in your life, you either learn from how to do it or how not to do it. Today, when you're sitting there and you're watching me, you're learning how to give a speech or how not to give a speech. Doesn't matter. But make sure you learn from everything that you do. The last thing I want to leave you with is I was the head football coach at Bethel College for 10 years, and we found success there. And we won a couple of conference championships, and we made the national playoffs. And in 2009, I made the choice to leave because I wanted to fly jet airplanes. So I told my wife, I remember driving down the street, and she goes, what do you think you're going to do when you resign? And I said, you know what, I'm going to be a pilot. I'm going to go fly airplanes. And she looked at me like I was completely insane. And I was 40 years old, and any of you in aviation understand it may be the worst decision you can make. So I left. I went and got my ratings. I was fortunate enough to get a job with Hawker Beechcraft as a production test pilot. And I did that for a couple of years, and now I'm working as a material process engineer for Learjet in Wichita. And my life has been blessed because of this community. because of the foundation that was set for me by people that I didn't even know were doing it.